دلوں میں پیار کی خوشبو تو ہونٹوں پر دعا رکھنا، دلوں میں پیار کی خوشبو تو ہونٹوں پر دعا رکھنا، امام وقت سے ایک رشتہ عشق و وفا رکھنا، امام وقت سے ایک رشتہ.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear viewers, welcome back to another program of Friday Sermon for Kids, where we discuss the Friday sermon of our beloved Huzoor. May Allah be his helper. And of course, I cannot do that alone. I have with me two very amazing panelists, Khalik and Rameez. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, guys.
Wa alaikum salam wa rabbi sahib.
So, as you all know, that Hazuri Anwaridahullah spoke about the life or some of the incidents of the life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he also spoke about the current situation of Palestine. So, before going any further, let's listen to a clip of Beloved Huzoor.
کہ حضرت صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے مدینہ میں ورود کے بعد وہاں بہت سے قبرستان تھے. یہودیوں کے اپنے قبرستان ہوا کرتے تھے، جبکہ عربوں کے مختلف قبائل کے اپنے اپنے قبرستان تھے. مدینہ طیبہ کیونکہ اس وقت مختلف علاقوں میں بٹا ہوا تھا، اس لیے ہر قبیلہ اپنے علاقے میں کھلی جگہ پر اپنی میتوں کو دفنا دیتا تھا. قبا کا الگ قبرستان تھا جو زیادہ مشہور تھا، گو کہ وہاں چھوٹے چھوٹے کئی اور قبرستان بھی تھے. قبیلہ بنو ظفر کا اپنا قبرستان تھا، بنو سلمہ کا اپنا الگ قبرستان تھا. دیگر قبرستانوں میں بنو ساعدہ کا قبرستان تھا، جس کی جگہ بعد میں سوق النبی صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم قائم ہوا. جس جگہ پر مسجد نبی تعمیر ہوئی وہاں بھی کھجوروں کے جھنڈ میں چند مشرکین کی قبریں تھیں. ان تمام قبرستانوں میں بقیع الغرقد سب سے پرانا اور مشہور قبرستان تھا. اور پھر جب رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اسے مسلمانوں کے قبرستان کے لیے منتخب کر لیا تو اس کے بعد سے آج تک اسے ایک منفرد اور ممتاز حیثیت حاصل رہی ہے جو ہمیشہ رہے گی.
So guys, I on a personal level always learn something new from the sermon of Beloved Huzoor. May Allah be his helper. But before I say something, I want to hear from both of you. What have you guys learned? So let's start with Rameez. Rameez, what did you learn from the sermon of Huzoor and Anwaridahullah?
Rabbi Sahib, what I learned from Huzoor, may Allah be his helper's Friday sermon, was that the first person to be buried at Jannatul Baqi was Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un. Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un was a very pious, pioneering soul.
Yes, amazing, Rameez. And you know that Jannatul Baqi was the first ever cemetery for the Muslims chosen by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now, Khalik, what have you learned from the Friday sermon of Huzoor and Anwaridahullah?
Rabbi Sab, what I've learned from the Friday sermon this week is that once the Holy Prophet ﷺ reached the spring called Zi Amr, the Holy Prophet ﷺ was drying his clothes until someone came to assassinate him. His name was Dusr. Dusr came up to the Holy Prophet ﷺ with a sword and asked, "Who will save you now?" The Holy Prophet ﷺ replied, "Allah will save me." The sword fell out from Dusr's hand. The Holy Prophet ﷺ picked it up and said, "Now, who will save you from me?" Dusr testified to the truth of Islam and accepted it.
MashaAllah, an amazing incident of the confidence of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Allah the Almighty. So again, mashallah, an amazing incident of the confidence of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Allah the Almighty. So amazing points, guys. So now we're going to go to other children around the world and let's see what they have learned from the sermon of Huzoor and Anwar. So now let's go to Kids Take.
Today I learned in the Friday sermon that Huzoor Anwar said there's a special graveyard in Medina called Jannatul Baqi. In today's Friday sermon, Beloved Huzoor told us that in Medina, different tribes had their own graveyards. In the second Hijrah, the Holy Prophet ﷺ chose Baqi-ul-Gharqad for Muslims, which is now known as Jannatul Baqi.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. In this Friday sermon, Beloved Huzoor Ayatollah bin Nasir said, the first person to be buried in Jannatul Baqi was Hazrat Usman bin Mauz, and Baqi means a land full of trees.
Jazakallah for your excellent points. It's always amazing listening to you guys. Make sure to send us your new Friday sermon points. If you forgot, there's always next week.
Okay, let's discuss the sermon.
So let's discuss a very amazing incident that actually tells us also about the piety of Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. As Ramiz also said, that he was the first person to be buried in Jannatul Baqi. He was so pious that once he went to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he sought permission that he abandons the world and he separates himself from his wife and children, and he asked the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he wanted to wholly worship Allah the Almighty. Now I want to ask, did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam give permission to Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu anhu to abandon everything and just to dedicate himself to the worship of Allah the Almighty?
No, Murabi Sahib. The Holy Prophet ﷺ actually did not give him permission.
Yes, exactly. The Holy Prophet did not give the permission to Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu ta'ala anhu.
Murabbi Sahib, why did not the Holy Prophet ﷺ allow him? All he wanted to do was spend all of his time worshipping Allah. Isn't that a good thing?
Jazakallah Khaliq, an amazing question and a very important question, because the Holy Prophet ﷺ has actually answered this very question. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ has said that we have to fulfill the rights that we owe to our wives, to our children, to our guests, and to our own soul. Why? Because if we fulfill those rights, we are obeying Allah the Almighty, and these are also a form of worship.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I thought worship was only praying 5 times a day.
Yes, this is very important to know, that worship actually means to obey all the commandments of Allah the Almighty. So if Allah Ta'ala commands us to be good to our children, we have to be good to our children. If Allah Ta'ala commands us to be good to our wives, we have to be good to our wives as well. And these are all forms of worship of Allah the Almighty.
Murabbi Sahib, does that mean if I help someone in need, that's considered as worship?
Of course. That's exactly what the Holy Prophet ﷺ wanted us to understand. That whatever help you provide to someone, to your neighbor, though your conduct towards your parents, toward your mother, toward your wife, these are all forms of worship. And Muhammad ﷺ was the best among us. So guys, before going any further, we are going to our next segment, which is the word of the sermon. And the word is Jannatul Baqi. And Hanan is going to explain this word. Over to you, Hanan.
Jannatul Baqi, also known as Baqi al-Gharqad, is a historic cemetery in Medina. Baqi refers to a place with many trees, and Jannat refers to a garden. The Arabs often call their cemeteries Jannat. Another name for Jannatul Baqi is Maqabir al-Baqi. Jannatul Baqi is a very important place for all Muslims. The first person to be buried here was Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu anhu. Back to you guys.
Jazakallah Hanan for this amazing explanation.
Murabbi Sahib, did Huzoor say that Hazrat Usman radhiyallahu anhu married the 2 daughters of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Yes, that's an amazing question. But before that, I want to ask you a question here. Are we talking about Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu ta'ala anhu or another Usman?
I'm not sure.
Me neither. That's a really tough one.
So let me tell you guys, it was not Hazrat Usman bin Maz'un radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, but it was Hazrat Usman bin Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu who married the daughters of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Oh yeah, the third caliph after the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah, I remember. Huzoor gave a sermon about him.
So guys, exactly, you guys are right. It was Hazrat Usman bin Affan radiallahu ta'ala anhu who was married to the daughter of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So before the Holy Prophet set out to Jang-e Badr, he said to Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu to stay back and to take care of Hazrat Ruqayya radiallahu ta'ala anha who was ill. So when the Muslims won the Battle of Badr, Hazrat Ruqayya radiallahu ta'ala anha also passed away during that time. So after that, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married his other daughter, Hazrat Kulsum radiallahu ta'ala anha, to the Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu. But she also passed away a few years later. And Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if I had another daughter, I would have married her to Hazrat Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu as well. So this is what the Huzoor Anwar Daulah mentioned in his Friday sermon. So guys, now we are going to go to our next segment, which is very, very interesting because it is the question of the sermon. So let's see if you guys are going to get it right this time. So the question is, what is the name of the first cemetery in the history of Islam? So you have 4 options, okay? 4 options. Jannatul Baqi, Baqiul Gharqad, Maqabirul Baqi, or all of the above. So you have 10 seconds to reply. So time's up, guys. We are going to ask the question first to Khalik. So Khalik, what's the answer?
Murabbi Saab, I think it's A, Jannatul Baqi.
Murabbi Sahib, I think it's A2, Jannatul Baqi.
So guys, the correct answer was all of the above. So it was all mentioned in the word of the sermon. So you guys didn't listen properly to the word of the sermon. So inshallah, better luck next time. So guys, in the end, Huzoor Anwar Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasrihil Aziz has spoken again about the sad situation of Palestine and how our brothers and sisters are suffering in Palestine. What do you guys remember about it?
Murabbi Saab, Huzoor again reminded us to continue praying for the people of Palestine.
Huzoor said that governments and politicians are not giving any importance to the lives of the Palestinians.
Yes, it's a very unfortunate, right? People are suffering, and unfortunately, due to some of their own personal interest, they are not raising their voice against these injustices which are being committed. And Huzoor Anwar reminded those politicians and those governments that they will be answerable to Allah the Almighty, right? We should not think that, this life is just all in all. We have to be, or we will be actually, answerable to Allah the Almighty. So we should all pray that Allah Ta'ala bring an end to the injustices which are being committed on Palestinians. Ameen.
Ameen.
Murabbi Sahib, what can we do as children to help the innocent people of Palestine?
Yes, Rami, that's a very important question. And what can you do? You have to listen to Huzoor Anwar Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Aziz. And what did he say? He said that we have to pray Tahajjud Namaz, right? And we have to pray for our Palestinian brothers and sisters. And we should at least dedicate one sajda, one prostration, and pray for the Palestinian brothers and sisters. So what you can do is to pray for these innocent people, and so that we can bring an end to this conflict.
Murabbi Saab, time flew by so fast.
Yes, unfortunately, we are coming to an end to this program. But before we finish, let's review what we learned so far in today's discussion.
Did you enjoy this week's Friday Sermon for Kids? Want to know how you can make it even better? Tell us what you learned from Beloved Huzoor's Friday Sermon and send your videos at FS4KIDS@mta.tv no later than every Sunday, and we'll try our best to include them in our next show.
Now, we can't include all the videos you guys sent to us. So, you guys can visit our Instagram and Twitter at MTA Canada and see all the videos you guys sent to us. Remember, at Friday Sermon for Kids, you're not just the audience, you make the show.
I learned that being good to people is also a kind of worship.
Yes, and for me, what I've learned is that Hazrat Uthman bin Affan Razatullah Anhu married the two daughters of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Well done, guys. Very good points.
And remember, guys, to always watch Huzoor's full khutbah.
Until next time from Montreal.
गोहर कर दे मगर है शर्त तुमसे मुसलसल राबता रखना मगर है शर्त तुम उससे मुसलसल राबता रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना दिलों में प्यार की खुशबू तो होठों पर दुआ रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना इमाम वक्त से एक रिश्ता इश्क वफा रखना